Welcome back to the channel. I'm Sean, the TTRPG Traveler. I've been playing tabletop RPGs since 1995, and after nearly 3 decades of adventuring, I've started designing content myself. If you've followed this channel before, you'll know I used to focus on tutorials, but starting now, I'm launching a new series dedicated to reviewing community-created content and answering the big questions DMs and players ask. In this series, I'll be asking, who wrote or published the content? Where can you find it online? When was it released? Does it have VTT support? Are other DMs actually using it? What kind of settings does it fit? Is it balanced, or does it have game-breaking loop? Has it been peer-reviewed? What does the community say? How does it compare to official 5e content in power and tone? Does it look polished and serious? Does it require DM buy-in or extra effort to run? Does it fulfill the player fantasy or leave you disappointed? And what other third-party or official alternatives exist? And of course, an overview of the actual content. Today we're going to start with a big one and one of my favorites, the Psion from KibblesTasty. Psionics has always been D&D's odd child. It's been in and out of editions since first edition, when it first appeared as a weird appendix tucked in the back of the player's handbook. Second edition gave us the complete Psionics handbook, and 3.5 refined it into its own class system, complete with unique powers and point-based mechanics. Fourth edition folded Psionics into the power system, labeling it as one of the power sources, like arcane or divine. And then came 5th edition. Wizards of the Coast took a swing with the Mystic, a giant playtest class that combined everything into one mega class. It was ambitious, packed with features, and kind of a mess. It never made it to print. The Mystic was complex, bloated, and hard to balance. It's infamous for a reason, but it also had fans. Now we're seeing a fresh attempt with the UA 2025 Psion, but the community's been filling that gap for years. One of the most successful homebrew responses is KibblesTasty Psion. Today, we're going to take a deep dive into what makes this class work, how it plays, and why it might be exactly what your next character needs. The Psion was created by KibblesTasty, a prolific homebrewer responsible for standout classes like the Inventor, the Warlord, and more. The Psion, first released in 2019, is currently at version 1.5.3, and it's freely available on GM Binder or via Kibble's website. It is also available in his Kibble's Compendium of Craft and Creation, also on the website as a PDF, as well as backer kit, where you can get it as a soft cover. The PDF includes a specialized character sheet, 5 new psionic themed feats, and rules for replicating the effects of 46 new spells using disciplines. Additionally, there is VTT support via Kibble's Compendium of Craft and Creation, on Foundry through his Patreon, Shard on the Shard Marketplace, and Fantasy Grounds on BackerKit. The class has seen years of development and community testing, making it one of the most polished homebrew classes for 5e. So has it been peer-reviewed? Yeah, it's been played and reviewed extensively on places like Reddit and Discord, YouTube videos. Common praise includes flexibility, distinct fantasy identity, engaging mechanics. Criticisms usually revolve around the side point management complexity or discipline power scaling. As is common with Kibble's classes, a lot of people will complain that it breaks the 5e simplicity framework in order to offer more engaging and complex decisions, which isn't for everyone. Visual and production quality, it's very polished. Professional layout, artwork, formatting. It feels like something from a third-party publisher. All right, so now let's talk mechanics. So Kibbles Psion doesn't use spell slots. Instead, it uses psi points. You get a number of psi points equal to your level and restore them on a short or long rest. At any time, you can only spend a number of points equal to half your level rounded up. So at level 5, you can spend up to 3 points at once. Your psi points come back on a short rest, and you get bonus free points each round as you level up. This encourages a fast-paced, focused use of powers rather than holding back. Those points fuel your disciplines, which are sort of like magical styles or psionic schools. Each one includes a passive effect, a core active power, and optional alternate spell effects that you can replicate by spending psi points. Want to move objects with your mind? There's a discipline for that. Want to read thoughts or teleport across space? Covered. At level 2, you gain access to psionic talents. These are modular upgrades that let you expand your powers, enhance disciplines, or bend the rules in clever ways. Kind of like Eldritch Invocations, but psionic. You gain a second discipline at level 3 and a third at level 18. Higher levels unlock features like free psi points each round, limited use high-level spells, and a capstone where your mind literally survives death by becoming a ghost. Let's take a quick look at the class features. So it's a 1d6 class. You get proficiencies in light armor and simple weapons. Your saving throws are intelligence and wisdom. For skills, you get psionics and then can choose 2 from deception, history, insight, intimidation, investigation, medicine, perception, or religion. Equipment, you start with either a quarterstaff, a dagger, or a martial weapon if you're proficient, leather armor or scale mail if you're proficient, and a scholar's pack or an explorer's pack. All right, now let's talk subclasses. There are 7 psionic archetypes, each tied to a particular theme or style of mental power. First is the awakened mind. This is the classic telepath, the Professor X, the mind reader. You gain the telepathy discipline, bonuses to insight and perception, and eventually the ability to see minds as if with blind sight. At high levels, you can grant yourself advantage on everything for a turn. Unleashed mind. This is your psionic barbarian. You use telekinesis and gain a growing rampage die that scales as you deal damage, sort of like a berserker scion. At level 14, you can survive a killing blow with a rampage-fueled surge. Next, we have Transcended Mind. This is your enlightened scion. You get the enhancement discipline, can heal and store damage, and even replace physical saves with intelligence. It's tanky, supportive, and very resilient. Shaper's Mind. This is like your summoner style. You conjure an astral construct to fight for you. You eventually gain the ability to project powers through it, defend with it, and you can even spawn a second one briefly. Wandering Mind. This is the dimensional traveler, aka the blink-happy space warper. You can use the transposition discipline to blink around the battlefield, gain martial weapon and medium armor proficiency, and can eventually cast plane shift and teleport, making this a great choice for a skirmisher or gish build. Next, we have the elemental mind. Here you channel energy as a reflection of your emotions. You manifest aspects of fire, cold, or lightning. Eventually, you can even transform into an elemental using shape change. And finally, we have the consuming mind. This is the psionic predator. You feed on thoughts, hide your powers with deception, and steal psi points through psychic damage. It's like part mind vampire, part psionic rogue, and perfect for a villain or edgy anti-hero. So balance and playability. How does it play? The Psion is undeniably complex, with a learning curve that comes from tracking psi points, disciplines, talents, and your daily limits. But that complexity is fair and really rewarding. Every power has a clear cost, and the class is built to reward smart, thoughtful play over brute force or repetitive tactics. You won't be slinging fireball every turn, but you will feel clever each time you bend reality to your will. Balance-wise, it holds up well next to wizards and sorcerers. The versatility is immense, offering control, utility, and burst damage without overshadowing the other full casters. Ultimately, the Psion delivers a distinctive, flexible playstyle that feels both balanced and satisfying for players who enjoy depth. Now, Wizards of the Coast released a new UA Psion recently, so let's quickly compare the two. Okay, so it uses standard spell slots and psionic energy dice, carrying over the mechanic from the 5e14 Soul Knife Rogue or Psi Fighter. Okay, I mean, it's cleaner, it's easier to learn since it's already been available, and it fits into the core 5e framework. But it also feels more like a flavored wizard or sorcerer. It doesn't redefine the magic system like Kibble's version does. I'm going to show you a quick table that is a quick overview of the key differences. Spellcasting, Kibbles uses psi points and disciplines. The UA uses traditional spell slots. Core mechanic has discipline powers and talents. The UA Psion is psionic energy dice. For subclass count, Kibbles has 7 in his PDF, whereas the UA only had 4. The Metamorph, Psi-Warper, Psykinetic, and Telepath. Flexibility. Kibbles has high flexibility, right? You pick your talents, your disciplines, whereas the UA's is more moderate. Balance-wise, Kibbles has been play-tested. It's really tight, and it's more modular. Whereas because this is the UA for the Psion, it's still kind of in flux. We'll see what happens after this feedback has gotten through to Wizards of the Coast. As far as complexity, as a Kibbles class, it is kind of high. And for Wizards of the Coast, theirs is rather medium. All in all, if you want something that's fully integrated, the UA Psion is fine. But if you want to feel like a true mental powerhouse with a distinct system, Kibble's Psion wins hands down. Now, I do want to talk about some other options because maybe you're still not quite feeling Kibble's Psion, which is fine. So let me talk about some of the other popular ones I know. So probably one of the more famous ones is LaserLlama's Psion. This is a sleek, class-based system using PowerPoints, reminiscent of 3.5e Psion. The tone is clear, focused, and elegant. It's very accessible to new players. Compared to Kibbles, it's more of a traditional caster structure. There's fewer moving parts. So Kibbles offers greater modularity and mechanical complexity, while LaserLlama's Psion feels easier to drop into any 5e game. Next up is The Psychic by Team Walrus Designs on DriveThru RPG. Specifically, this is Darel Dominguez. This was the class that was also mentioned alongside Kibble's Psion by Indestructiboy in his curated homebrew video. So the Psychic is a full psionic class using psi-die, talents, and unique subclass paths called awakenings. They had a 2.0 update, which added HP-based limit breaks, some subclass redesigns. They got rid of one of their subclasses, implemented another, new feats, and expanded psionic foci. The tone is very cinematic. It's very flexible and superhero flavored. During the playtest, Darel was talking about how the idea was his version of implementing like the X-Men. So it's got that very superhero flavored feel to it. Great for narrative heavy or emotionally charged games. It's more narrative and thematic compared to Kibbles, with like a dynamic energy economy and support for wild builds. Kibble's Psion is more structured and tactical, while the Psychic leans into like flavorful adaptability and high concept play. Another one is the Korranberg Chronicle, the Psions Primer. This is a full alternative psionic system featuring three new classes, the Empath, the Icon, and the Psion. It's got psi points, talents, and augments, all deeply tied to the lore-rich Eberron themes. So it's deeply narrative with high fantasy philosophical bend. Think mysticism meets psychology. Compared to Kibbles, it's a massive, fully self-contained psionic expansion, so not just a class. It's a bit more lore-anchored, especially to Eberron, but it's still highly usable in any setting. I think Kibble's Psion is more modular and accessible, while Korranberg's is more like a complete alternative magic system with its own character options, monsters, and philosophies. And last, but decidedly not least, is MCDM's The Talent. So this is probably my favorite class of MCDMs, and it's right up there with Kibble's Psion as for like a power-based character. So the Talent is a full psionic superpower class using focus points to fuel psychic manifestations. So there's no spell slots. Powers are activated through dice rolls with strain as a balancing mechanic. And then at first it's not too bad, but you can accumulate too much strain and it could even be fatal. The tone is heavily tactical and cinematic. Pretty much like all of Matt Koval's things, he really goes for this cinematic feel of his content. So it's great for combat encounters and dramatic moments. It's really cool because it comes as like a bright, full-color, 109-page PDF, plus a printable talent sheet and optional card deck. So all the powers have cards that you can use as reference. And then compared to Kibble's Psion, it's got a broader scope. It's not just a psionic system. I mean, that's the core of it. But it's like a superpower framework. So it's inspired by characters like 11, Jean Grey. He even mentioned Stephen King's like pyrokinetics and things like that. It's ideal for high drama, gritty cinematic campaigns, but it might feel less pure Psion than Kibble's Psi Point class balance. So, final verdict. Kibble's Tasty Psion is one of the most complete, versatile, flavorful homebrew classes in 5e. It's perfect for campaigns where the mind is a weapon, whether you're playing a psychic warrior, astral summoner, elemental channeler, or a mind thief. It rewards smart play. It supports multiple fantasy archetypes, and it has the polish of something you'd expect from a published supplement. Would a player regret picking it? Only if they wanted a simpler class. It's complex, but rewarding. Players who like the Warlock or Sorcerer may find it very satisfying. In fact, Kibble said if he had it to do it all over again, or if the Sorcerer was a little bit better, he would probably have made it a Sorcerer type class. If your group is comfortable with complexity and you're looking for a class that bends reality with raw mental power, this Psion delivers on the fantasy. So thanks for watching. Let me know in the comments, would you play or have you played a Psion? Which version did you choose? If you enjoyed this review, like and subscribe for more deep dives into homebrew and third-party D&D content. Do you have a third-party player option you want me to review? Put it down in the comments below. My current plan is to release a new review of third-party or established homebrew content once a month publicly, with another review of homebrew content from lesser-known creators released to patrons at the associate level or higher. The next class I intend to look at is Ryoko's Guide Bender from D&D Shorts and Loot Tavern. So make sure to hit that bell so you know when it comes out. Thanks for watching, and until next time, may your dice be kind and your stories legendary.